Hi, it's Scott with Michigan Pool News, and I'm here with Andy Gothier from Aquatic Source. And one of the things we talked about earlier with Kevin Rodenbow was titration testing. And now we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about how important that is. So Andy's going to point out to us what you do when you find out that you've got some combined chlorines in the pool. So Andy, what do we got on the chart here?
First we've got is you test the water and you get your free available chlorine. That's the good chlorine in the pool. Then you do a total chlorine test, and that'll give you, in this instance, we had 2 parts per million of free available chlorine. We did a total chlorine test, and we ended up with 3 parts per million, giving you a total of, a combined is subtracting the free available from total, you get a 1 part per million of combined chlorine. To get rid of combined chlorine, you have to hit breakpoint chlorination. And to do that, you need to get 10 times the amount of the combined chlorine into the pool. So to hit breakpoint chlorination, we have a combined chlorine reading of 1 part per million. So you have to multiply that by 10, giving you a 10. You need to put 10 parts per million of chlorine into the pool. In a liquid chlorine of 10% solution and a pool of 100,000 gallons, you would put 10 gallons of liquid chlorine is the equivalent of a 10 part per million shock in 100,000 gallons of water.
How long does it take for it to reach breakpoint chlorination?
Your breakpoint starts, and it can take anywhere from 8 hours to 24 hours to completely do a breakpoint. When you do a breakpoint chlorination, if you look at the top of the water, you can actually see little bursts on top of the water, like little starbursts. That's actually it gassing it off into the air.
So your HVAC better be kicked in on an indoor too.
That's correct, because all the shocking or breakpointing actually breaks it out of the pool into the air. When it's in the air, the HVAC has to be purged out of the building, or else the combined chlorine that you now got out of the water is going to drop back in.
Just fall back in.
Yeah.
And then high levels can be fixed with thiosulfate.
Yeah,
if you
thiosulfate.
But if you do it too early, you might do it before a break point.
You're going to not hit your break point and get it back down. Because typically when you do a complete breakpoint chlorination, the amount that you put in is the demand that's required to hit breakpoint. The next morning, you should be pretty close to where you started.
Okay.
Give or take 1 or 2 parts, so it's still a safe swimming level.
Is there a model for a client that might be using a powdered chlorine?
Yeah, if you're using a non-stabilized shock like calcium hypochlorite shock, you can also look in the Taylor book and the different percentage. If you're using 12% solution of chlorine instead of the 10 that we were talking about, in the Taylor book it tells you how much, based on the percentage of chlorine you're using, to get 1 part per million, and you just take the amount out of the book, multiply by 10.
Great.
To give you the breakpoint chlorination.
We're talking a little bit about this today too, because we do have a lot of clients that hit breakpoint all the time, but still can't get rid of the combines because of HVAC systems.
We've got one in particular that it would, when they shock the one pool, to get it out of there, the second pool that's in the same building would actually raise after a breakpoint because the HVAC wasn't taking enough air out of the room.
Well, thanks, Andy. Scott from Michigan Pool News, Andy from Aquatic Source. Have a great day.